This video is on the changeover on the TES 5 Semi Automatic machine. We will be changing from a double lot to a single lot. I will be explaining each section, so when I started off the machine, go make sure that the machine is cleaned off, all the capsules are gone, machine's vacuumed off, and I've set out my tools that I'll be needing to perform this operation. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the magazine from the hopper. You'll be removing 2 thumb screws. Next step is to remove the magazine itself. This will be either a 13 or 14 millimeter wrench. You have 2 hex bolts holding it in. Pull the magazine straight out. I'm going to set it over on the table. Wait. Next I'll be removing the sorting block. This is a 5 millimeter Allen. We'll loosen 2 screws, 1 each side of the sorting block itself. To accomplish that, take that, sit over on the side. Next step I'm going to do, I'm going to close the door, make sure the machine is in jog, and I'm going to jog the sorting forks out. Open up the door again. You have 2 screws on the back of the sorting fork, in the back here. 5 millimeter. Remove the sorting forks. At this point, your sorting station has been completely disassembled as far as the changeover goes. Next step, we're going to adjust the reverse order. I'm going to take my clean sorting forks. This time I'm going to make the forks snug but not completely tight. I want to still be able to move them. Next step, taking your sorting block, putting it in. When I'm doing those sorting block, I'm going to make sure that it's all the way down. We put back in the bolts, 1 on each side. This time I'm going to tighten this up all the way. Now I'm going to do the alignment of my sorting forks. I want to make sure that they're pushed all the way back. And the gap in between my sorting forks and my sorting block is close to being the same all the way across. Once I get to that point, I'm going to go ahead and tighten those bolts all the way down. Next step, taking your magazine. One thing I forgot to point out is each one of these on the sorting block on the side, on the sorting forks, I have a single zero on there representing the single lot. I want to make sure that I have a single lot on all of the parts I'm putting back on. Align your 2 pins on the bottom on your magazine. Put your bolts back in on each side. Tighten the bolts down. Put your hopper cover back down. Put the 2 thumb screws back in. I'm going to close the door. I'm going to jog it till the magazine is all the way down. I'm going to make sure that my magazine forks and my sorting block are pretty even all the way through. Once you get to this point, that is all of the changeover on your filling station or your feeding station. Next station is your fill station and the changeovers. There will be nothing that needs to be done with that. Next we'll be moving over to our closing station. Closing station, going to open all the way up. Take a 10mm wrench. Remove the 3 hex bolts from the top. Once I get to this point, I hold the 2 sides of the closing ring, bring it up until that center part comes out, remove the center part. Next part is removing your rings. You have 4 socket heads. Lift your ring straight up. Get it to the side. this point, I would normally take off this shaft and I would grease this bearing. Put your spring back in with the plastic piece underneath. Put the shaft back in. You have 3 spacers, 1 on each one of these shafts. We want to make sure that all 3 of those are still on there. Take your single aught closing ring, place it down. Replace your 4 socket head bolts. One way you can tell which ring is what, a double aught. Each row has 5 pins. Single aught, each row has 6 pins. There should also be a stamp on the bottom of it showing which ring it is. Tight into 4. At this point, I want to make sure that it moves up and down freely. It's not scraping anywhere hard on any of these shafts. Once I do that, I'm going to put the center plate back in. If you notice, this one doesn't have the spacer on it, this one does. Make sure the spacers for the bolts get put back in. Tighten in the 3 bolts with your 10mm. That's the completion of the changeover of the single aught. Next step after this would be doing some testing, and I will show you some of that now. So the next step in the changeover is we're going to be checking the alignment of everything of our capsules. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the jog button, making sure the machine's in jog. I'm going to rotate to this point where the magazine forks are just barely starting to come down. Open up the door. What I'm checking these forks to the alignment of the capsule. I want these forks to be in line with the capsule separation point. Next step is closing the door. I'm going to jog the magazine down to about this point. What I'm going to check is the alignment of these capsules, making sure that they have done a full rotation and are headed straight down. Once I get to that point, going to have them release, remove the capsules. At this point, I'm going to hit the magazine reset, have them go through, grab a ring, put the ring on, have it come back to the lock position. At this point, I'm going to take a ring, put it on. I'll be turning on the vacuum, and what we're going to do is we're going to check, make sure that we are getting capsules into the ring. At this point we got good capsules going in. That one had an extra one in it. And check our separation. Getting good separation. So at this point the feed station is complete with the changeover.